What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another video. This video is going to be about my baby must-haves for the first 6 months. So one of the first must-haves for us was a baby swaddle, and that was super important because when babies come out, like, they've been in your stomach for 9 months. They are used to being and tight. And so when they first come out, like, that's something that I'm pretty sure your baby nurse will probably do. They'll probably swaddle your baby, and that was a game changer for us. So when we were in the hospital, it was so funny because we had swaddles, but they were all at home. In the hospital, they gave us like this blanket and they were trying to show us how to swaddle Mila, and we were just kind of like, it was a struggle. Like, we had to keep calling our nurse in to get her to swaddle her because at night, like, it was literally the difference between if she would sleep or if she was awake. And especially like those first couple of nights, like when you're in the hospital and you want them to sleep like in that little bassinet, it's very important that they're swaddled because without that, we wouldn't have gotten any sleep. The swaddle that we loved the most it just happened to be the Halo swaddle, which I will link all of these products in the description so that you can find them as well. You can buy them or even add them to your baby registry. But the Halo was a really good swaddle for us. That swaddle was Velcro and zip, so you pretty much put the baby in there, you zip it up, and then you Velcro it shut. And that was a game changer for us because we didn't have to worry about like the technique of swaddling, making sure that it's tight enough. And we swaddled Mila up until about 3 months. We probably could have transitioned her before that, but 3 months was pretty much like our cutoff with swaddling, and it worked out great. Some of our family members were like, let the baby breathe, like she wants to move her arms and her legs, but for us, it worked out. So yeah, I definitely recommend a swaddle for the first 3 months and make it easy on yourself. Get one that's easy to wrap because the blanket, the technique is too much. It was too much for me, so that's that. So keeping it along the lines of sleep, another game changer for us was a sleep suit, so at 3 months, we transitioned her to the sleep suit, and it's basically this like really comfortable suit that is kind of like a onesie and it zips up. We ended up getting the Baby Magic sleep suit from Amazon, and it was super helpful. Like, she was able to stretch out her limbs, but it also is kind of like, it kind of reminds me of like a weighted blanket but for a baby. And then, like, as you know, babies should sleep on their backs, so it was super helpful for us. Like, she couldn't roll or anything. And then for the sleep suit, we also did that for 3 months. So now that she's 6 months, we actually transitioned her out of the sleep suit about maybe 2 weeks ago. And we probably could have done it sooner because like there were moments where she wasn't sleeping with the sleep suit. Like, for example, my mom kept her while me and Deshaun went on a vacation when Mila was she was actually around 3 months, and she didn't have a sleep suit. It's like, definitely recommend that sleep suit, and like I said, we got that off of Amazon as well. Another must-have for us is a shusher. So the thing is, we decided not to get one of those store-bought sound machines, and we may get one in the future, like as Mila transitions, like maybe to her own room when she's around 1 or so. We may get her a sound machine, like if it helps her sleep, because I know, like, even for myself sometimes, like, I put sound on for myself sometimes to sleep, so I can only imagine how helpful it would be for her and how comforting it would be. So for sound machine, we actually ended up using our phones. So Spotify has like this playlist with like a lot of baby sounds, And we ended up using just like, if you search it on Spotify, and I'll put it in the description, but it's just called Shh. We pretty much use that, and like to this day we still use it. For some reason, like right before Mila would like be about to drift to sleep, she would like completely freak out and she would like start crying. And using that sound really helped to comfort her. That really worked for us. One thing that I did purchase was a shusher from Target, and looking back, like it wasn't really necessary. I guess sometimes like when I do sit Mila down or put her down to sleep and I don't want to be in the room, or like maybe she's just falling asleep and I want like her to have that comforting sound so that she can completely go into a deep sleep, sometimes I'll cut on that shusher. And I think it times out like after a certain amount of time, because I did notice that. Ultimately, I don't think it's necessary to purchase a shusher from Target, and I would honestly just use my phone. Like I said, it's been working out great for us, and when we're not at home or like when we're traveling, like for example, when we went to our family's house for the holidays, we could just use our phones and put her to sleep, and it was totally fine. This for us, like, is something that a lot of people already have in their houses, but we had to go out and buy a new one. And for us, that was a humidifier. So a little bit of backstory. When Mila was born, obviously like newborns are very small, so their nostrils are also very small. And when she would breathe at night, like she would make all of these crazy noises. And like I feel like that's something nobody ever talks about. Like I had no idea that babies made such like strange noises when they slept. And honestly, it scared the crap out of me. Like I noticed that the air upstairs was dry. Like we used to have a humidifier that would run like even when I was pregnant, but we would always have like one of the smaller humidifiers. And so one night, like Mila kept making these weird noises and it scared me so bad. And I noticed that like when she took a nap on the main floor, she wouldn't make any noise. At night when we went upstairs, she would do a lot of wheezing and stuff like that. So one night I ended up bringing her downstairs in the middle of the night. Like we were so exhausted. And we ended up sleeping on the couch, and like we just brought Mila's portable bassinet downstairs. And for me, it gave me so much comfort because I didn't, like at the time, I didn't know if everything was okay, especially like as a new parent. So that's when we found out that it was definitely the air, because when we brought her down here on the main floor, like she wouldn't really make those same noises. So all of that to say, we ended up getting a humidifier, and we got a bigger one that could cover the whole room, and to this day we still use it every single night. And then like Mila started daycare. Babies tend to get sick when they start daycare, so it's really helpful for her because it keeps her nostrils moist. So yeah, a humidifier, like if your house gets dry or if you notice like your baby's breathing like sounds a little dry, I recommend getting a humidifier. Okay. So next thing along the lines of babies getting sick, Frida snot sucker. So honestly, I seen so many people, like I did a bunch of research when I did my baby registry, and I seen a lot of people putting that on their registry, and I was just kind of like, whatever, I'll get it when I need it. And I didn't need it in the beginning. But when Mila was about 4 months, she started daycare, and I'm not even kidding, like the third day that she came home from daycare, she literally had a runny nose. So we ended up going to get the Frida snot sucker from Target, and we got the entire kit. So it came with saline spray and like these little filters, and to this day we still use it. She's 6 months, and in the middle of the night, like occasionally we'll have to use, but mostly like after I give her a nice bath, I'll use it if her nose is like draining, and then in the morning when she wakes up, I'll also use it. So Super helpful. We use a saline spray like maybe twice a day, but definitely at night just to help her with her breathing and make it more comforting for her when she sleeps. But I would definitely say you might as well go ahead and have that on hand because it was super helpful. And then, like, you know, back in the day, they would use like those little bulbs to get out snot. I've heard that those don't work. I've never used one before, so I really can't say. But I do know, like, I remember my dad telling me that he used to use his mouth. I know it's nasty, but he used to use his mouth to suck the snot out of my nose. And so the good thing about this is it's like a very easy little device to clean. Also, like I said, it has the filters that come with it, and then you can also buy replaceable filters for like maybe $3. Buy those, and then it protects you from getting sick. Even though we all know, like, especially as moms, we have a tendency to get sick when our babies get sick, but that filter is definitely going to help, like, when you're sucking snot out. So yeah, I definitely do that to make my baby feel better. Okay, so this is something that we honestly haven't used as often in the past month or so, but we used it a lot when she was first born, and that was the Baby Bjorn baby carrier. We decided to get that specific carrier because it was adjustable for both me and Deshaun to use. But like most babies, when Milo was first born, like she wanted to be held all the time. And I'm honestly like one of those moms, like I don't believe that you can spoil a newborn. Like I want to comfort my baby as much as possible. Like she's new to this world. She is not familiar with her surroundings. So, and I love being close to her. So I would put her in that thing. Like I would have her like sat down or, and she would like she would cry, she would get irritable. But like when I needed to do things around the house, I would put her in that carrier and I would literally go do everything I need to do. Like I would wash dishes, I would cook, I would do laundry, fold clothes, like anything I needed to do, I would use that carrier. And when she was first born, it was much easier because she was a little bit lighter, so it wasn't as much of a strain. But yeah, and then even though like you're moving around in it, like babies tend to fall asleep in it, so like she would fall asleep in it, and it was great for us. And then when we went out in public, originally in the beginning, she wasn't used to her car seat. So I would literally, like, if I was going in the store or going grocery shopping, I would just put her in that carrier and like walk around with her versus putting her in the stroller, because sometimes she would freak out in that stroller. And then same for like if we went out to eat, like instead of putting her in the stroller, I would just put her in the carrier. That way she's comforted the whole time we're out, and then that helps, like, you know, then she won't, you know, cry as much. And if I need to get up and like walk around with her, I would be hands-free and I could like soothe her. Or, you know, like if I want to eat, I don't have to worry about holding her with one hand. I would have her in the carrier and I would just eat my food. So that was super helpful for us. Another thing, the same brand, Baby Bjorn, we got the bouncer. And that for us, like I remember like hearing people talk about how it doesn't move, so it may not be as effective as a swing, but we ended up getting that bouncer and a swing, and we still use it. Like she's 6 months and she still sits in it. When she was smaller, I used to like put a blanket in there to make it a little bit tighter, and she would pretty much relax. But I will say when she was younger, she kind of took to her swing a little bit more. I feel like 3 months was like a pivotal moment for her. Like it's kind of like when she transitioned from like newborn to infant. So now like having a shower, or if I'm doing something around the house, or like even like when we're having dinner at the dinner table, I will give her something give her a teething toy or something to play with, and she'll just chill in there. So along the lines of things that your baby can sit in, a swing was like mandatory for us. So we actually had two different swings. We had a swing from Target that moved like a traditional swing that she really loved when she was younger. We would put her in there and it would soothe her. It didn't make noise, but it would still soothe her. And then even sometimes she would fall asleep and we would just take her out and lay her down when she did fall asleep. But it was super comforting for her. And then for us, like anytime we needed to do something or like we didn't want to hold her or like we were having dinner, we could just easily put her in there and that would be that. So I'll link that swing in the description. We got that one from Target, and we literally picked that one up like the day that we came home from the hospital because we wanted to have two different types of swings just to see like which one she would like. And that's something that, I mean, I recommend. We had quite a few baby items that like we tried out with her and she didn't like, and we ended up returning. Obviously, like we didn't use them excessively, but like if she didn't take to it, for the most part, we were like, okay, let's try something else. Because baby stuff is very expensive and like you want to get something that you can actually really use. Had that swing, but then also we had the Mama-Ru, which we absolutely love and we still use to this day. The Mama-Ru is a lot more aesthetically pleasing, and it actually pretty much like matches our aesthetic in our living room. So we were really big on that. Like we wanted something that could soothe her and make her feel comfortable, but at the same time we were like, we don't want to have like a very colorful baby looking living room. Like we still want our living room to look true to us. So where we could do that and where we can, we try to. The Mama-Ru makes noises. It has different settings for the baby, very comforting. She occasionally falls asleep in that thing. The Mama-Ru is definitely something that I would recommend, but I understand like the Mama-Ru is a pretty steep price. We actually ended up putting that on our baby registry. So thankfully, a lot of items we did not have to purchase, and if we did, we had money from our baby shower. But I would definitely say, like, if you want to find a more affordable version, like, just go to Target and get a swing. Okay. So the last thing that I'm gonna mention as a must-have is something that is very small but very important, and for us that was Aquaphor. So babies, like for us, especially for me, like I'm really big on hygiene and good skincare, and for my baby, like I really wanted to avoid her getting any type of diaper rashes or anything that would make her uncomfortable, because she's also a newborn, so like she can't talk, and so I wanted to be able to make sure that she's as comfortable as possible. So Aquaphor or some type of cream like that we put on her butt every single time we change her diaper. And that is to prevent diaper rash. So babies pee and poop all the time and it sits on their butt. So in order to avoid that, we do that. We put that on her butt and it's worked out for us. There was only one time when Mila's bottom was like a little red, and we put Destin on there, and I'm not even kidding, within like 3 hours it was gone. So Aquaphor and Destin are two really good creams to have for your baby, just to prevent any diaper rash or any uncomfortability for them. They literally are relying on you, and they can't voice like any of their problems, so we want to minimize that as much as possible. Those are all the things that I found super helpful within our first 6 months. These are all things that we pretty much continue to use. Like we want, my thing like as a parent is like I want to make my life easy, but I also want to make my baby's life easy and manageable, if that makes sense. Like we're both obviously going through a transition with a baby being born and us being new parents. So these are things that I would definitely recommend for any first-time moms. And like I said, I'll link everything in the description for you so it'll be easy to find. And yeah, if you like videos like this, be sure to comment, like, and subscribe. And I will see y'all in the next video.